Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India, India's voice to the world. This is Sports Plus. I'm Mark Lynn. Namaskar. Coming up in the next half an hour. Records tumble in Bengaluru as Sunrisers Hyderabad scores the highest ever score in the IPL, 287 runs, demolishing RCB by 25 runs. Kolkata faced Rajasthan today in the 17th edition of the Indian Premier League. Rafael Nadal returns from injury layoff, will take on Italian Flavio Cobolli in the first round of the Barcelona Open. In football, Barcelona to take on Paris Saint-Germain in the return leg of their Champions League quarterfinals today. Meanwhile, Borussia Dortmund will be facing Atletico Madrid in the second game. Now let's bring you all the IPL updates. Sunrisers Hyderabad on Monday scored the highest ever total in IPL history, beating Royal Challengers Bengaluru by 25 runs. Faf du Plessis led RCB, won the toss and they opted to bowl first. Travis Head's scintillating century propelled SRH to an imposing total of 287 for 3 against a struggling RCB bowling side. Despite the daunting target of 288 runs, RCB mounted a spirited chase in the second innings. Dinesh Karthik played a monumental innings, smashing 83 runs of just 35 balls. Karthik's heroics, the performance propelled RCB to achieve the highest ever second innings total in IPL history. The defeat marked RCB's sixth loss in 7 games, leaving them languishing at the bottom of the league table. After breaking the Indian Premier League's highest total record for the second time this season by scoring 287 runs on Monday, the SRH opener Travis Head said that Hyderabad is now looking to breach the 300 mark. Head said, and I quote, "Our total needs a 3 in front of it. There's it now. We've got guys like Klaasen, Abdul Samad and Nitish Kumar ready. We've got some power through the middle and we want to keep just putting the foot down as much as we can. We know that's not always guaranteed, but at the moment I think we're setting it up really well in each game and getting to the score that we need." The former champions Hyderabad, they are now 4th in the points table following this 4th win in 6 games. And Bengaluru, led by the South African Faf du Plessis, dropped to the bottom of the table, the 10-team league that is, following the 6th defeat in 7 matches. Now, Glenn Maxwell has elected to take a break from the IPL to refresh himself physically and mentally after requesting Royal Challengers Bengaluru management to pick someone else in his place for the match against Sunrisers Hyderabad. Maxwell has been struggling for runs in the IPL 2024. Before Monday's game, he had scored only 32 runs in 6 innings at an average of 5.33. Well, Maxwell said after RCB's 6th defeat in 7 matches, "I went to Faf and the coaches after the last game and said that I felt it was probably time we tried someone else. I have been in this situation in the past where we can keep playing and get yourself deeper into a hole. I think now is actually a good time for me to give myself a bit of a mental and physical break, get my body right. If I'm required to get in during the tournament, I can hopefully get back into a really solid mental and physical space where I can still have an impact." Unquote. Kolkata Knight Riders will face Rajasthan Royals in the 31st match of the Indian Premier League 2024 in Kolkata today. The Royals are sitting at the top of the points table. They are on top of the points table with 5 wins from 6 games this season. Meanwhile, Kolkata are in the second spot with 4 wins from 5. The team will be eyeing the top spot with this game after crushing Lucknow Super Giants by 8 wickets with over 4 overs to spare at the same venue. The hosts are in formidable form. And RR landed in this historic metropolis. This is after winning their last match. Parag and Samson are among the leading run scorers, and Yajuvendra Chahal has worn the purple cap for much of the season. Moving on to tennis now, the reigning champion Carlos Alcaraz has pulled out of the Barcelona Open due to a right arm injury and is doubtful for next week's Madrid Open. The 20-year-old two-time Grand Slam champion won the tournament in Barcelona in 2022 and 2023. He was forced to withdraw due to the same injury that kept the Spanish world number 3 out of last week's Monte Carlo Masters. Alcaraz has taken one title this year. He's won only one, that's the Indian Wells last month. And he said that he was putting in all his efforts and his focus is now on recovering properly.
Con recuperación, con días.
It was a difficult decision because the tournament is a very important tournament for me, very special, and taking the decision not to come was very difficult for me, for my family, and for my team. It was a difficult moment because, I repeat, the images we got were positive, but my feeling is not right, but that's the way it is. Right now, I have put 100% of my concentration into recovering.
Que golpeaba derechas después de...
The 22 times Grand Slam champion and great of the game, Rafael Nadal, has confirmed that he will make his long-awaited return to tennis by playing at the Barcelona Open. Nadal hasn't played since the Brisbane International in January due to injury. He subsequently had to withdraw from a host of big tournaments, including the Australian Open, the Indian Wells, as well as Monte Carlo Masters. Nadal had suffered a muscle tear on his troublesome hip that robbed him of the 2023 season. The former world number 1 has expressed his intention to retire following the conclusion of 2024 season. Nadal's first match will be against the 21-year-old Italian Flavio Cobolli today.
I can't give.
The issue was, can I or can't I? It was not about anything else. It has been a difficult 2 years. I come from a major hip operation, which took me a year to recover, so when this happened, it's difficult. Things happen in the body and I could not follow the schedule I wanted. So I am accepting the situations. When I can, I will do it, and when I can't, I won't do it. As painful as it can be for me to miss some tournaments, this is what it is. Then I need to put in the balance all the good things I have had during my life. And at this point of my career, unfortunately or not, I am under a different situation. I don't know what can happen in the future, but today I am facing this as if this will be my last participation here at the Barcelona Open. That's my current feeling, and I will try to enjoy it as I can, without giving up to be competitive. I will not come out to get a tribute. I will do my best to have chances. I think the week of training has been positive, and I will go out to give it all, and we will see what happens.
And Giles Gibson now joins us live from Rome with more on Nadal. Well, Giles, Nadal fans will be happy to see that he's coming back, but and Nadal gives everything on the court, we know that. But given the stage of his life and the number of injuries he's been through, what can we expect?
That's right, Rafael Nadal stepping out onto the court in just under 4 hours' time to take on his Italian opponent at the Barcelona Open. This is the first time that we'll see Rafael Nadal stepping out onto the clay since the final of the French Open of Roland Garros back in 2022. Of course, this is the surface that is really so strongly associated with Rafael Nadal after his extraordinary record at the French Open from still a teenager right up to now that he is in his late 30s. Rafael Nadal seems to be really just trying to enjoy every single moment, every single match as he potentially approaches the end of his glittering career. He says that he's just trying to enjoy every moment. And I think that mindset clearly comes from the fact that he's just had this rotten injury record over the last few years. He did play in Brisbane in Australia in January of this year before he was forced to pull out of the Australian Open due to injury issues. He was out for pretty much a year before that appearance at the Brisbane Open. He's had major hip surgery in the last couple of years. He's been struggling with a consistent foot injury as well. So, Rafael Nadal is not setting anything in stone, but he does appear to be moving through the final stages of his extraordinary successful career.
Indeed, and talking about that successful career, Giles, regarding the French Open, what are his chances given the injuries? And he's had such a stellar record at the French Open. But, looking back, if we look at the top three and the greatest of all time, we've seen them all, Federer, Nadal and Djokovic. And if we look at, on the internet, people who describe the best tennis games that have ever taken place, even the greats of the past, they would many of them feature Nadal and the other two as well. So, in history, Nadal will be going down as perhaps one of the greatest players of all time.
Oh, he absolutely will, and this is not just the end of Rafael Nadal's career potentially over the next few months or the next 6 months or so. This is the end of really an extraordinary era in tennis. We talked about for many years the big four, right? So Rafael Nadal, Roger Federer, Andy Murray and Novak Djokovic really competing and winning extraordinary amounts of titles over the course of their careers, and now we see each of them sort of moving towards the exit. We've already seen Roger Federer stepping away from the game, pursuing his many business interests. Instead, we have Andy Murray, who is well into his late 30s. He's had that hip resurfacing operation, which he has managed to come back to, which is an achievement in itself. But Andy Murray is now potentially talking about retiring this summer if he manages to get into Team GB and appear at the Paris 2024 Olympics. You now have Rafael Nadal trying to get back to full fitness, but still, of course, talking about this being potentially his final season in tennis. But I think the one outlier from those big four is the fact that we still have Novak Djokovic, who, of course, was still very much part of their era, but he's still managing to be right at the top of his game. He's still the world number one, competing with much younger players such as Carlos Alcaraz. So that certainly we are going to see over the next year or so potentially 3 out of that big four stepping away from the game. But Novak Djokovic just really showing incredible longevity in terms of his tennis career, showing absolutely no signs of stepping away from the game just yet.
Right, and a final question. Nadal says he's going to give it all in Barcelona. He did try in the Australian Open and he had to walk off the court. What do we think? Do you see at the end of the day, age finally catches up with you. You may look and feel the best you want to be, and you mentally want to give the best to the sport, but you just don't have it in you.
Yeah, it's the opponent that every single player over the course of history has not been able to beat. It's time, right?
Right.
Injuries, the amount of travel that you do, age, the injuries that build up over time, simply those defeat even the greatest players such as Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal eventually. I think over the next few days what his target is really going to be is just trying to get some time out on court, trying to get through some of these rounds at Barcelona, trying to get some playing time under his belt and really just proving that his body is still up to playing top level tennis. And then, of course, once he's done that, then he'll look forward to the French Open, that major that is so heavily associated with Rafael Nadal, and just try to get himself in the best possible form as he goes to take another, probably pretty unlikely, but another tilt at that Roland Garros title.
Giles Gibson, thanks very much for joining us. Now, the World Chess Championship candidates, the open part of the tournament, is interestingly poised after 10 rounds. The youngest player in the field, the Indian Grandmaster Gukesh, still a month shy of his 18th birthday, shares the lead with Russia's Ian Nepomniachtchi with 6 points each. Following them, within striking distance at 5.5 points, are 3 contenders, the promising Indian Grandmaster Pragnananda and the top 2 American Grandmasters Fabiano Caruana and Hikaru Nakamura. Now, India's Vidit Gujarati too is still in striking range with 5 points, and with 4 rounds to go, it is still anyone's match. The winner will challenge world champion Ding Liren in the world title match. And in the women's segment, two Chinese grandmasters, Li Tingji and Tan Zhongyi, they share the lead with 6.5 points. I beg your pardon. In with a chance are two Russian grandmasters, Alexandra Gorchachina and Katerina Logno, with 5.5 points each. India's Koneru Hampi is still with an outside chance of making it to the top with 4.5 points currently. Now, still to come here on DD India Sports Buzz. PSG coach Luis Enrique is confident of PSG's chances for the Champions League last four after suffering 3-2 home defeat by Barcelona. Chelsea demolishes Everton 6-0 in the English Premier League.
Voice of a rising aspirational world. Stories of challenges, struggles and accomplishment. A world battling conflict, hunger and poverty. Embracing growth, development, science and technology. A voice of progress, a voice of unity. Watch Voice of the Global South with me, Akshay Dongre, only on DD India.
We just don't bring you the news as it unfolds. We get to the heart of the matter.
We don't just present facts, we demystify complex social, political and economic events.
We break stories that shape the world's present and future because you deserve the truth.
I am Tanvi Taneja from New Delhi.
I'm Ollie Barrett from London.
I'm Nick Harper from Washington, D.C.
Join us on DD India Global Monday to Friday at these times.
Tracking the first phase of general elections, Team Poll Pulse has reached India's northeast in Assam. This is the tea city of India, Dibrugarh.
They are not getting jobs in the local area, like in Dibrugarh or nearby districts and all.
Home to the finest tea, the state is set for a cracker of a contest. This is 2024. Can the Congress and allies offer a fight back, or will the Modi juggernaut be unstoppable? Watch Poll Pulse on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Sports Buzz. I'm Mark Lynn. Barcelona are ready for the battle against Paris Saint-Germain in the return leg of their Champions League quarter-final today. Barca hold a slender 3-2 advantage after the first leg in Paris last week as they bid to reach the semi-finals for just the second time in 8 seasons since lifting the trophy in 2015. Barca will be without the captain Sergei Roberto and Andreas Christiansen, who are both suspended after receiving yellow cards in Paris. The victory in Paris was Barca's first win in the Champions League knockout stage in 4 years and left them full of confidence as they reached 6 consecutive victories in all competitions. The coach, Javi Hernandez, is all euphoric ahead of the match.
What we want is to take the ball away from PSG, to attack and win the match. That's what we want, to go through the tie, and let's hope we have our best version and our best picture. To be able to go through, we need to perform very well because it's a team that will demand a lot from us. I'm excited for tomorrow's match and I think Barcelona fans are as well. I'm very happy. I'm very hopeful to be where we are now.
Una guerra futbolística importantísima.
PSG boss Luis Enrique said on Monday that PSG will qualify for the Champions League last four by recovering from last week's 3-2 home defeat by Barcelona in their quarter-final first leg. The Spaniard, who led Barca to a treble in 2015, was confident PSG could overcome what he thought was an unfair loss and continue their quest for a first Champions League crown.
I think it was a very hard-fought match by both sides, well played by both teams. I think the result does not accurately reflect what we deserved. I think we deserved at least the draw, and I even think we deserve to score another goal. But the result reflects a 2-3, and that implies that we have to give a better version of ourselves.
Meanwhile, Borussia Dortmund will have their last cut tonight as they host Atletico Madrid in the second leg of the Champions League quarterfinals. Dortmund are currently losing the tie 2-1 after the first leg in Madrid saw Diego Simon's side take a 2-0 lead. The German team's coach also said that Dortmund's Sebastian Haller will have to miss the quarterfinal match after the forward suffered an injury to his ankle.
We have a first analysis on Sebastian Haller, and unfortunately he injured his ankle again and the scar tissue was damaged. No matter what the opponent demands from us, they are in a position to play counter-attacks. It's not easy to play against Atletico in their home stadium, and last week they had the advantage, and we wanted to carry a good result to get the advantage for a home game tomorrow. And we are quite sure that our supporters want to create a great atmosphere to make it happen. We want to pay back with a good performance.
Meanwhile, Atletico are also looking to secure a first Champions League semi-final spot in 7 years. They controlled the first half and led 2-0 through Rodrigo Del Paul and Samuel Lino. Atletico Madrid, the coach Diego Simon, is wary of both Borussia Dortmund's strength at home as the side prepares for the return leg.
Well, we are going to face a team that is very strong at home, who will surely start with a high tempo, and we have to keep up the level. We have been playing at in our last few games. The team has been responding very well. They are confident, they are doing well, and it is going to be a good game tomorrow. The club is working very well. We have all grown from the important results we have been able to get in the Spanish La Liga.
And on to the English Premier League. Well, Chelsea demolished Everton courtesy of Cole Palmer's unstoppable display, who netted a perfect first half hat-trick and a fourth in the second half as Chelsea scored 6-0 at Stamford Bridge on Monday. Palmer's goals took his season's tally to 20 in the league, tied with Manchester City's Erling Haaland. Chelsea continues to maintain their push for a European spot and leave the visitors still hovering above the relegation zone. In the league table, Everton sits in 16th place, only 2 points and 2 places above the relegation zone. After running its unbeaten streak to 8, Chelsea was in the 9th place, only 1 point behind West Ham. Chelsea have 2 games in hand over the Hammers. The Paris 2024 opening ceremony, planned to take place on the river in the French capital, might be moved if there are security concerns. The French president said that the organizers are considering a plan B and even a plan C. DD India correspondent Ross Cullen reports.
The Olympic opening ceremony will be held on the River Seine if everything goes to plan, something that's never been seen before. Olympic opening ceremonies are usually held in the national stadium in the particular city that is hosting the Olympics and Paralympics. However, for the first time ever, they want to host the Olympic opening event on a moving waterway. Now, this is presenting a number of challenges. It's unprecedented, and trying to secure the area, make sure that it is safe for all the spectators, the athletes and the dignitaries, and trying to ensure that there are no terror threats, for example, is proving a daunting challenge for the police and for the French security services. And so the government and the organising committee for Paris 2024 are starting to look at alternative options. Now, one of those could be to hold the opening ceremony in a fixed location like the Trocadero, that's the area of Paris opposite the Eiffel Tower, and have it there, or hold it in the Stade de France. That's the national stadium in the north of Paris, which is scheduled to hold the Olympic closing ceremony anyway. They could also move the opening ceremony there if needs be. But for the moment, the plans are set to go ahead with the opening ceremony held on the River Seine in the centre of Paris on the 26th of July. Ross Cullen in Paris reporting for DD India.
Well, Special Olympics Bharat on Monday organised a grand send-off ceremony for the Indian contingent that will be travelling to Dhaka for the Special Olympics South Asia 7-a-side Unified Football Tournament 2024. The event is scheduled to take place in Dhaka from April 16 to April 20. The ceremony was graced by the guest of honour Taranjeet and the Dean of MRIIRS, NC Wadhwa. Now, the two teams from India will be participating in this tournament, one each of boys and girls, and the event will witness the participation from 9 unified football teams representing 5 countries. They are Bangladesh, India, Indonesia, Maldives and Hong Kong.
मेरा ये मानना है कि ये टूर्नामेंट बहुत ही इम्पॉर्टेंट है हमारे जो स्पेशल एथलीट्स हैं उनकी डेवलपमेंट के लिए। और इस टूर्नामेंट की बात करें तो ये 7-a-साइड टूर्नामेंट है जो ढाका में हो रहा है, जिसमें बहुत सारी एशिया की और भी कंट्रीज़ की टीम हैं जो पार्टिसिपेट कर रही हैं। और हमारी तैयारी इसके लिए बहुत ही अच्छी है। पिछले करीब 5-6 दिनों से हमारा यहाँ प्रेपरेटरी कैंप चल रहा है मानव रचना यूनिवर्सिटी में, और हमारे कोचेज़, हमारे फिजियोज़, उन्होंने काफ़ी मेहनत की है हमारे खिलाड़ियों के साथ। और आई एम श्योर कि ये जैसे बहुत सारे टूर्नामेंट पहले भी हमारे बच्चे खेलते रहे हैं, ये टूर्नामेंट भी एक उनके एक मनोबल को, एक उनके कॉन्फिडेंस को काफ़ी उनके हेल्प करेगा उनको स्ट्रॉन्ग करने के लिए।
Well, that's all we have in this edition of DD India Sports Buzz, but let's know your thoughts on the news of the day. Connect with us on Facebook, X, formerly Twitter, and Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Mark Lynn. From all of us here in Delhi, thanks very much for watching DD India Sports Buzz. Namaskar.